Colts has put the Notre Dame victory march on hold because today the Irish begin their final dash for another perfect season. They've run their win streak to 22 straight, and now the ultimate prize is once again within sight. The mission is clear. Notre Dame must sack Penn State, Miami, and Colorado to celebrate a second straight national championship. Paterno can almost taste an upset. His Nittany Lions have been numbed in '89, especially in recent weeks, but nothing could satisfy them more than tripping the mighty Irish. At Happy Valley, they are not running scared. They are ready to challenge the nation's #1 ranked team. Today, two of college football's giants are going to collide. Notre Dame and Penn State next.
Are bundled up.
Temperature at 30 degrees, but the wind chill factor makes it feel like 6 degrees. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jim Nance, and welcome on this wintry afternoon to State College. In the 80s, this place has presented an enormous obstacle to the Irish. In the decade, Notre Dame has played at Beaver Stadium 4 times. 4 times Notre Dame has lost. The most recent, 1987. In the final seconds, the Irish went for the win with a 2-point try.
And the quarterback is Tony Rice. Brown in the slot. They've got him double covered now. Karpinski comes in. Here's the rollout. Away. No! Pete Kirkendall.
Vern Lundquist made the call that day for us here on CBS as Penn State prevailed 21-20. It was a day weather-wise very similar to today. In fact, there are other similarities, and for more on that, let's take you down to our sideline man, John Dockery.
Jim Nance, it is wicked cold. It is bone-chilling cold down here, and it's not snowing now, but earlier this morning, a snowstorm blew across Happy Valley, leaving a dusting of the white stuff all over the place. Now, there's more forecast later on in the day. Right now, as you mentioned, Jim Nance, the temperature is around 30. The wind chill is heading down towards 0, but the real story is the wind. It's gusting up to 25 miles an hour, and sure, both these teams are used to the cold, and they rely on the run, so it may not affect their offenses that much, but where it will affect this game is in the kicking game. Mistakes in field position will help decide this game. And Pat Hayden, it's the way the players and the teams deal with the elements that will help to determine who wins this game today.
Well, John, in many stadiums across the country, thousands of senior college football players will be running into their stadiums for the last home game. Here at Penn State, they have a tradition of introducing their seniors before their last home game. And in a few moments, these are reflective moments, thinking about how important this game is to these players.
I think it's the biggest game for Penn State in the last 5 years other than the national championship. Especially, I think, with the way this season has gone, the way things have happened to us.
This is our national championship game this week. This is my national championship game. This is everybody's game. There's no pressure on us. We have nothing. We have everything to gain. Notre Dame has everything to lose.
And for Blair Thomas, it's a very special day as he runs out in the field for the last time. The man who's rushed for over 1,000 yards this year, sat out all last year with a knee injury, but he had over 200 yards when they last played against Notre Dame 2 years ago. He needs to have that kind of game today. So Greg Gumbel, as Blair Thomas and his teammates run into Beaver Stadium for the very last time, they hope they have the kind of game that they can remember for a lifetime.
All right, Pat Hayden, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our studios in New York.
Season 22-game win streak, the longest in Notre Dame history. Challenged today by 17th ranked Penn State. The Nittany Lions at 6-2-1, and the Irish leave the locker room and head for the field, where they are winless in the 80s at Beaver Stadium. Let's get a report now from John Dockery. Doc?
You know, Jim, the big question all week long here at Penn State is, who will the starting quarterback be? Will it be Tom Bill, the cerebral, high-percentage passer, or Tony Sacca, the man with unlimited potential? No amount of detective work has been able to come up with a clue. But joining me now is a man who can solve the mystery of the starting quarterback. Joe Paterno, who would it be? Joe's still very tight-lipped and mum on the subject. If I had to guess, I say it would be Tony Sacca.
He sure is smiling for a man with no sweater on in this 30-degree weather. We'll see the real Joe Paterno in a minute. But now the Notre Dame Fighting Irish coming out. Let's get another report down there. Pat Hayden.
Jim, I'll tell you, the wind is going to be very much a factor today, particularly for the kickers and punters. I talked to Craig Hendrick, the punter from Notre Dame, just a moment ago, and he said when he's punting the ball into the wind, he's going to have to keep the ball low and try to drive it. And Tony Rice, the quarterback, said when he throws the ball into the wind, he needs a very tight spiral to pierce the wind today.
Penn State Nittany Lions at 6-2-1. A 1-point loss 3 weeks ago to Alabama, missing a last-second field goal for the win. Today, the power drive for Notre Dame begins. Penn State this afternoon, at Miami next week. And then on to the Orange Bowl again, where they'll face Colorado. Penn State would like nothing more than to spoil all the plans of the #1 Irish. Lou Holtz has won here before, but he was the coach at that time of North Carolina State. He has not won here as the Notre Dame coach. And now Joe Paterno and the Nittany Lions. These two have met 13 times. The series record is 6-6-1. Today, the deadlock will be broken. Notre Dame and Penn State coming up next.
CBS Sports presents college football. Live from Beaver Stadium in University Park, Pennsylvania. It's the top-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish versus the Penn State Nittany Lions. Today's CFA game is sponsored by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. UPS, fast, efficient service to 175 countries and territories worldwide. And by RCA, #1 with the toughest critics in the world.
Games played. Penn State was a little delayed coming out of the Notre Dame was a little delayed coming out of the locker room. Then during the coin toss, look at this. The entire Notre Dame team lined up behind their captains, a type of intimidation saying, here we are, we're in your house, Jim Nance, but we're ready. Back to you, Jim Nance.
Doc, Penn State won the toss and deferred. They will defend the goal to our left. Notre Dame will receive to start it. And that means the rocket. Will they kick it to him? He leads the nation in kick returns, having run 2 back for touchdowns, both against Michigan. 4 on his career he has returned for touchdowns, as well as a punt return this year.
Out of bounds.
And the kick bounced into the end zone. It straddled the sideline. And a touchback. Notre Dame will start from the 20. Tony Rice, the leading rusher for the Irish, at quarterback. In the backfield, he's joined by Anthony Johnson, who has scored 12 touchdowns. Ricky Waters has scored 9 on the year. Eilers and Ismail are the receivers. Keeps it. Rice picks up 25 yards on the opening play of the game. Finally tackled by Andre Collins.
Well, I have
have seen Tony Rice do this so often over the years. It looks like there's a little bit of a mix-up, and he runs almost like a quarterback draw off a trap action. And then he's going to pick up a block by number 13, Eilers, and Ismail, number 25. The one thing about Notre Dame, their wide receivers block, and block all day long.
Great block by Eilers to help free him. 1st and 10, Notre Dame from the 44. Ricky Waters, off right tackle. Stacked up after a 3-yard gain. Tackled by Collins and Dieter. Dieter is the nose tackle. A couple of seniors on that defensive line, Giannetti and Schoenwolf. Chismar and Andre Collins, 2 outstanding senior linebackers on the inside. On the outside, it's D'Onofrio and freshman Reggie Gibbons. They'll give Waters 4 on the carry. 2nd down and 6 for Notre Dame. William Pollard has come into the game as a receiver for the Irish. Pitch to Waters. No gain. D'Onofrio ran down the line with him. The Notre Dame offensive line starts at center with Mike Helt. And at guard, Ryan and Grunhard, the 2 Tims. The tackles, Mike Brennan and Dean Brown. Another Brown at tight end, Derek Brown. Always a threat to go deep. The tight end, Derek Brown. 3rd and 6 out of the eye, Notre Dame. Schoenwolf makes the sack on Rice. That Notre Dame throws that often. 112 attempts this year for Rice, but only the 3rd time he's been sacked. O.J. McDuffie, return man, waiting for the kick from Hendrick. Bouncing around and will die near the 20-yard line.
You know, Rich Schoenwolf, Jim, has made an awful lot of plays in his 4-year career at Penn State. Number 75, just as a swim move right behind Grunhard, number 75, went right over his head and made the sack. And, Jim, this is going to be a defensive game and a game decided by field position and turnovers. And I think it's going to be a 4th quarter game.
Well, there's the answer to the starting quarterback question at Penn State. Saka, the sophomore, will remain the starter. He sends Smith in motion on 1st down. Blair Thomas tries it up the middle and picks up 3. Saka starts today, completes only 39% of his passes, but he's got a big arm, can go long. Thompson and Blair Thomas, the running backs. Thomas already over 1,000. David Daniels and Terry Smith, the receivers. We'll also see O.J. McDuffie in the mix for the Nittany Lions at a receiver spot. 2nd down, we'll call it 8. Now Saka incomplete in the hands of Dave Jacob.
Well, Jim, you will see actually both quarterbacks today. That is Tony Saka, the man who has played most of this year, but Tom Bill is the man who started the season, started the first 2 games of the season, and then was suspended from the team. But Tony Saka is a man who's come in and played well. Number 12, you will see him back. Last week he played the 2nd half against Maryland.
That was a 13-13 tie last week against the Terrapins. 3rd down and 8. Pass caught. What a hit put on Dave Daniels by Ned Bolkar. Right at the 1st down yardage at the 31-yard line. Daniels held on.
And this is Ned Bolkar's kind of game, number 47 in the middle of the screen. When you play Michigans and Michigan States and Southern Cals and Penn States, Ned Bolkar is in his element because they're going to throw passes like that. They're going to run the ball at him 40 or 50 times. He loves these kind of games.
Boy, that's the kind of hit that shakes and rattles the teeth on a cold day like it is today in State College. It is a 1st down for Penn State from its 31-yard line. Out of the full house backfield. McDuffie gets the run, picks up 5. Don Grimm cut him under for Notre Dame. Now let's talk more about the Irish defense. It starts at nose tackle with Chris Zorich. I don't think there's a better one in the country. Bob Dahl and Jeff Alm on the defensive line. The backers, Grimm and Bolkar. Inside and outside, it's Andre Jones and Scott Kowalkowski. 2nd down and 5 for Penn State. Pitch to Thomas. Zott out in front. 1st down, Penn State. Andre Jones holds on to him as Thomas goes out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Very nice offensive line here for Penn State. Roger Duffy, the best that Joe Paterno has ever had at center. Monahan and Zott at the guard. Zott, a very good pulling guard, and Freeman and McCartan at the tackles. The tight end, Dave Jacob, needs to catch some balls today, and Penn State needs to have some success throwing the ball downfield.
1st and 10, Penn State from its 45. Quickly now, Saka hits Daniels again. A quickie route that gets into Notre Dame territory, and another 1st down, a gain of 11.
And Jim, I can't tell you how important this start is for Tony Saka. He is a quarterback struggling with his confidence. He acts very confident, but deep down he has been troubled the last few weeks. But he's come out this game and thrown some very nice balls.
2 receptions by Dave Daniels, and on 1st and 10, Leroy Thompson hit at the line by Chris Zorich.
You mentioned Zorich being the best USC, and I don't think there's a better nose guard in all of America, because what Chris Zorich does to this team is just about everything. He'll fight off the center. He'll run downfield on screen plays. He'll fight off double teams. He'll make sacks. He does everything that's possibly asked of a nose tackle.
Only a junior from Chicago, Zorich. 2nd and 10. 12 and 11. Saka running out of there and getting to the 36-yard line. Zorich holding on. Got him by an ankle along with Andre Jones. And Penn State about 3 yards shy of a 1st.
And Jim, Penn State has the ball in the wind right now. We've talked about the wind a couple of times, and it's very important when you have the wind at your back to try to make the quarter as long as you can. And that means throwing the ball with the wind.
Now they brought in extra tight end, number 80, Todd Young. 3rd and 3. Play action fake. Saka with all kinds of protection. Now throwing it downfield, and the catch is made by McDuffie. To the Notre Dame 15.
Fabulous protection by the Penn State offensive line now. McDuffie is the only receiver out in this pattern. And Saka is waiting. And what McDuffie does a great job. He was supposed to run deep, but then when he saw he was not going to beat the man, he turned around and was wide open. A nice adjustment by O.J. McDuffie.
1st and 10. Thomas pushes his offensive lineman in front and knocks down a couple of guys. It was McCartan.
He was directed traffic out there a little bit.
It helped out, didn't it?
Yeah.
Cleared the way. Now the Notre Dame secondary. Todd Light with 8 interceptions on the year. Stan Smagala, the other corner. And the safeties are Terrell and Francisco.
This has been a sluggish Penn State offense all year, but this opening drive, they have been very impressive, mixing the run and the pass.
2nd and 4, Jarek in at fullback. There, Thomas to the 3 and a 1st down for Penn State. Clearing the way for him, the fullback, but it was just inserted. John Jarek.
You know, on offense last week against Maryland, they got down in scoring territory inside the 10-yard line and had trouble punching the ball in. But you sense there's a different attitude. sense those seniors that were introduced before this game are carrying the emotion on their sleeves and want very much to get this ball into the end zone.
First and goal. Collins in there now. Out in motion. Saka keeps and gets to the 1-yard line. Brian Flannery on the tackle for Notre Dame.
We said Ned Bolcar, he's in his element today. Number 47 right there in the middle of your screen. His eyes see the play taking him to his right. He is sacrificing his body. He knows a national championship perhaps is on the line.
Great play by Bolcar. Second and goal from the 1. Right into the end zone where the frenzied student fans are sitting. Blair Thomas, touchdown. With his 4th touchdown of the year, Penn State puts together a 13-play, 79-yard drive to start it off. First time they touch the football. They use over 5 minutes on the clock. And Taurasi out of Markowitz's hold, and it's 7-0 Penn State.
And give this touchdown to the offensive line, Jim. Watch how they come off and create a crease. There's white bodies on the ground. See all the Notre Dame defenders on their hands and knees. And then Blair Thomas keeps his head down, and Penn State is off to an early 7-0 lead.
Who 2 years ago rushed for
214 yards in a victory against Notre Dame. Just 3 weeks later, while practicing, he said somebody, it made a noise like somebody had cracked some knuckles. His knee had been blown out. He had to miss the entire '88 season. He bypassed a chance to go into the NFL to come back for this year. Today, he has given Penn State the early advantage over the Irish. 5 carries, 24 yards on the drive, and the touchdown for Blair Thomas.
Joe Paterno says he is not courageous enough to kick the ball to Ismail today. Unless he kicks it short.
There's Ismail from the 14. And to the 35-yard line.
Watch number 57, the guard, Sean Love for Penn State. He is a man who's going to play a lot today in place of Ed Monahan. And he is the one who really cleared the way. Bounced off number 7, Andre Jones, and then got another guy. It was a second effort by the offensive guard. You know, you always talk about second effort of tailbacks. That time he had the second effort of Sean Love, the guard.
Out of the wishbone, 1st and 10, Notre Dame. Ismail. And a good tackle made as he was cut under. As we go back now to New York for an update.
Jim, Oklahoma-Nebraska doesn't mean as much as it usually does this year, but an intense rivalry nevertheless. Jerry Godowski has run for 1 touchdown, thrown for 2, including that 24-yarder to Chris Garrett. And in the first quarter, Nebraska leads the Sooners 22-7. Jim?
Well, on a day where that great rivalry does not have anything riding on it like it usually does. Anthony Johnson past the 40 to the 41-yard line.
Now, Anthony Johnson all year long and throughout his whole career has gotten more yards out of nothing than just about any running back I've ever seen. You know, he has to get those dirty yards, the tough yards inside. And as a fullback, he averages over 4 yards a carry. And Anthony Johnson, by his inside running, sets up the outside runs on the perimeter for Tony Rice.
3rd down and 4. Ricky Waters near the first down at the 45.
He got it. The spot gave him the first down. I'll tell you, that was an important first down, too, I think, Jim, for Notre Dame.
Well, Colorado, as expected, all over Kansas State today. And that's the reason why Oklahoma and Nebraska is not as special as it often is.
Well, it's not for the Big 8 crown, but again, for those seniors playing in that game today, it's a very special moment for those guys as well.
Tony Smith in as a receiver for Tony Rice. 1st and 10 from the 45. Inside give to Anthony Johnson.
Now, what Notre Dame will do, Jim, is they will continue to run Anthony Johnson inside until you take him away. But what that does is set up Tony Rice on the perimeter. And all the big plays in college football come on the perimeter of the defense. And sooner or later, Tony Rice will be at the end of the defense with Rocket Ismail on his corner, on his side.
That was a great hit we saw early in this game by Ned Bolkar. I still think the hardest hit this year in college football is the one leveled on Anthony Johnson against Michigan State. He was back on his feet a play later. Rice on the option gets to the 49-yard line. Andre Collins tripped him up first.
And Sherrod Range was there also, the free safety number 36. And every time you play an option team, your free safety has to have the game of his life. And if Penn State is going to knock off this #1 team, Sherrod Range at free safety is going to have to make a lot of tackles and still be cagey enough not to give up any cheap touchdowns on the post patterns.
3rd down and 4. Pollard to the right. Ismail in a slot right. Rice throwing to Waters. And it's a 1st down. Just enough yardage. Reggie Givens on the coverage and tackle. Rice's pass caught. His first attempt of the day.
You know, much has been made. You're going to see Waters come right out here into the flat. Much has been made about Tony Rice and his ability not to throw the ball terribly effectively. But I want to tell you, on 3rd downs, and when the game is on the line, he can throw the ball well. That guy was open, and that was Ricky Waters in the flat for the easy 1st down.
Into the wind. 1st and 10 from the 44 of Penn State. Now the option and the keep. 27-yard line. Tony Rice tackled by Sherrod Range after a gain of 17.
Running the option plays is one of the funniest things to see, I think, because defensive players run away from the guy with the ball. You're going to see number 27, Gary Brown, run right past the quarterback with the ball. But he has the pitch man. That's his responsibility. I've always thought it was a strange sight, not running past the guy with the ball, but the option forces you to play disciplined defense.
That's already twice in this quarter. Rice has broken a couple of long ones. 1st and 10. And a timeout called by Rice. Inside State leads the nation in scoring defense. Mark D'Onofrio is one of their best, but he knows the Irish have many ingredients.
But Tony Rice he's the key to the offense, makes the whole offense go, and I'm very impressed also with their fullback, Anthony Johnson. He seems like every time he hits someone, he's getting right up looking to hit the next guy. So, you know, all around, they have, of course, Ismail and Waters. I mean, with speed, I mean, they're just a great team all around. There's not a, soft spot in there.
This guy, Mark D'Onofrio, has made 2 tackles, 11 sacks on the year for D'Onofrio. Why the timeout by Rice? 2 seconds left on the down clock. He was trying to call an audible at the line of scrimmage, realized he would have run out of time. 1st and 10, Notre Dame. And Anthony Johnson barrels to the 23-yard line. Dieter and Givens on the tackle. Let's go back to John Dockery.
You know, Jim Nance, we talked about the wind before the game and the weather conditions. It's very cold down here. The field was covered before the game, so it's not frozen. It may freeze up later, but the wind is very strange. It's gusting. At this moment, it's blowing across the field, so it's hard to say where the advantage is at this moment in time. Back to you guys.
2nd and 6. Eilers to the right. Ismail in a slot right. Out of the eye. Option left. And Rice to the 17-yard line. Chismar in range on the tackle.
Brian Chismar is a much like Ned Bolcar. We talked about Bolcar, but Chismar, number 28, the inside linebacker for Penn State, is the same type of player. And you know, college football is about making adjustments. Well, he's had to make a lot of them. He is right here. Watch, you're going to see him make the play and fight through a couple of guys, shifting down, never crosses his legs. Fights through one block of Anthony Johnson and makes the stop. We talk about making adjustments, though. He was recruited as a running back, then he was a starting strong safety. They moved him to an outside linebacker, and now he is an inside linebacker and has really found a home inside.
Brian Chismar. You mentioned he came here as a running back, 10th all-time rusher in the high school ranks in the state of Pennsylvania. But here he's played defense throughout his career. We're going to measure for the first down, just to be sure. And about a foot short. 3rd and 1.
And this is where Notre Dame has been so good this year on short yardage situations. By the nature of their offense, they're going to be in a lot of 3rd and shorts. And when they get in that wishbone and option formation, they have 4 different guys who can pick up the first down for you.
They bring in Rod West, number 43, as the extra tight end. Ismail is in the backfield in this wishbone set with Anthony Johnson and Ricky Waters. On the sneak, Rice has it. First down, Notre Dame.
And what about the block of Mike Helt? When you're a defensive man, you know the ball's going to come right over you. But watch the center, Mike Helt, number 55, on Jim Dieter, number 72. They lock helmets. He gets low. There's a big push. And Tony Rice just follows the big block and the big body of Helt for the first yard, for the first down. That is a nice charge by the center.
From the 16, Eilers at the top of your screen. Ismail in a slot. Inside again they go with Anthony Johnson. Jim Dieter on that play, Pat.
And a great matchup. Dieter, the nose tackle, number 72 in the middle, and Helt. These guys are going to go at it all day long. The play before, Helt got the better of it. This time, Dieter fights off the block. Thinks he stops Anthony Johnson right there, but Anthony Johnson went for 5 more yards.
12th play of the drive for the Irish. 2nd down and 3. Anthony Johnson driving his legs to the 4-yard line and a Notre Dame first down.
What you should really look at when you watch Anthony Johnson play this game is how many yards he gains after he gets hit. Watch, he's going to get hit by a couple of. Andre Collins does a nice job of getting around the block, and then you see how low he is? He's hard to stop for no gain because he runs so low and keeps his legs moving all the time.
The football's inside of the 5. 1st and goal. Tony Rice. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Challenge Tony Rice, he seems to respond, Jim. And particularly in the 4th quarter when it counts.
Craig Hendrick, a freshman, will try to tie the game here with 2:19 left in the 1st quarter. Kick is good.
Jim, we talked about Anthony Johnson as a runner, but watch him at the fullback position throw the key block here. Again, he gets low and clears the way for Tony Rice to dive into the end zone.
Notre Dame comes back to tie the game. 7-7. Irish riding in on a 22-game win streak. And here's how they've done it. A lot of ways.
I think that one is one of the key ones. To force 26 more turnovers than they committed. And look at the special teams. Lou Holtz puts as much emphasis on the special teams as any head coach in America. That's the first thing they do every week is set up their special teams game plan.
Looks like they're in a battle today. However, Bobby Samuels is set at the 10-yard line to return the kick. And Hendrick just flat out missed it. Ball blew off the tee.
As long as he doesn't touch it, he can do that.
I think we just got about 30,000 cases of whiplash. Everyone jolted their head to the left and looking for the football.
Like a tennis match, yeah. Well, now they're going to have someone hold it. Yeah, that exactly explains the reason why, and also while Samuels is on the 10-yard line.
All right, just driving it into the ground. And the return to the 43-yard line by Jeff Anderson, the son of Rutgers head coach Dick Anderson.
Jim, you have to think with 2:14 remaining in the first quarter and Penn State having the wind behind them, maybe you think about using your timeouts here rather than at the end of the second quarter and try to gain as much of the time and clock as you can with the wind at your back.
2:14 left in the first quarter. Number 32, Blair Thomas, lined up behind Tony Sacca. First down carry for Thomas. And he darts to the 48-yard line. Devon McDonald on that side, along with Todd Light.
But Blair Thomas has such a great feel of where people are on the field. And not just defensive players. He has a real sense of where all of his teammates are, and he can pick up blocks a lot of guys can't because of that feel for the game.
2nd and 6. Sacca pass is deflected, but still caught. Bob Dahl got a hand on it, but the pass was caught.
Well, more and more teams we have seen in college football this year tipping balls because more and more teams have short passing attacks, and you can't sack the quarterback if they have short drops. But Notre Dame, this time it's Bob Dahl, number 93, who gets his hands up there. We have seen Jeff Holm tip balls for Notre Dame. Zorich has as well. But if you can't get to the quarterback, get those big paws up.
Blair Thomas on the catch, 3rd and 1 from the 48 of Notre Dame. Blair Thomas again looking for the corner, looking for the marker. He has it. And a first down for Penn State.
Well, you know, you think of Blair Thomas as a flashy running back that can get you 40 yards. Well, that's a tough yard that you need for a first down to keep a drive alive against the #1 team. That's a big run. But, Jim, I'm still a little bit surprised that we aren't seeing more passes from Penn State right now when they have this big wind at their backs.
Well, they'll have the wind for one more minute. On first down, setting up the reverse for McDuffie. Now looking to throw. No one open downfield, so McDuffie runs with it and gets to the 31-yard line. Got away from Volcar. And McDuffie able to improvise and pick up another first down, a gain of 15.
Ned Volcar was a funny thing. The inside linebacker got his shoe and was so disgusted because he ran right out of it and then just threw it down. But Volcar is right about in the middle of the screen right now. McDuffie's trying to throw the ball downfield, but Smagala was not fooled. But watch Volcar. He picked it up and then he threw the shoe down. Disgusted, he ran right through it.
1st and 10, Penn State. Blair Thomas on the short side of the field. Out of bounds at the 26.
A lot of people thought it was a late hit after Blair Thomas was out of bounds. All of a sudden you have 85,000 referees.
But no call. There was a call. There was a flag. We're a bit blocked out by the sidelines here, down below on our near side.
They called the late hit on Terrell. I'm not so sure it was as aggravating as they believe.
Dead ball, personal foul, offense, defense, first down.
It wasn't a hard hit, but it was a hit when Thomas was out of bounds.
Lou Holtz wants to talk about it with Pat Terrell. He takes Terrell out, brings in George Foreman at free safety. But it's 1st and 10 for Penn State. Jarrett in at fullback. Thomas, the tailback, gets the carry and maybe a yard. And that will be the last play of this quarter. Penn State has driven it for a touchdown. Notre Dame came back to answer. So it's 7-7. Notre Dame and Penn State. College football on CBS Sports will return after this message and a word from your local station.
Score tied at 7. Penn State threatening. Now you see some sunshine coming across the field, but folks, it is wicked cold here. The wind chill is approaching 0. Temperature just dipped below 30 degrees, but the real factor is the wind. It's gusting up to 30 miles an hour, affecting both teams. Now back to you, Pat and Jim.
All right, Doc, and we start the second quarter with Penn State driving again. They have it 2nd and 9 from the Notre Dame 13-yard line. Leroy Thompson hit right at the line. Tackled by Troy Ridgely. 3rd and long coming up.
You know, Leroy Thompson, number 44, the man who ran that ball, Jim, is really a converted tailback. And they really wanted to play and see a lot more of John Jarrett, number 34, at fullback, because he was the kind of powerful fullback you need to play against Notre Dame.
3rd and 9. Saka tucks it in, takes the sack. Devon McDonald.
And that is a big sack when Taurasi now has to kick against the wind. Number 45, the left of your screen. The best pass rusher at Notre Dame, and it's all attitude. That's all pass rushing is, and he's got a rusher's attitude.
Ray Taurasi will attempt a field goal measuring 38 yards. This to put Penn State in front. Kind of a low snap fielded by Markowitz, and the kick is good. Taurasi now 16 of 20 on the year. Penn State's offense has had the football twice. They've scored on each possession and now lead by 3. State back in front, 10-7 over Notre Dame. But the Irish now will have the wind at their backs here for the first time today. The Rocket about to return the kick. Today is Raghib Ismail's 20th birthday.
He is the most exciting man in college football this season, has been. As a kick returner, as a receiver, and sometimes even as a running back.
Taurasi kicks it instead on a wing to Anthony Johnson. Johnson, look at this. Wow. All the way to the 40-yard line. Notre Dame seems to always start with excellent field position. And tomorrow we position our day starting at 12:30 with the NFL Today. And then regional coverage. Many will see Minnesota against Philadelphia, Tampa Bay and Chicago, Saints, Atlanta, Detroit, Phoenix against the Rams, Green Bay, San Francisco. Those are 4 o'clock games you see there. Check your local listings.
Looking forward to see that Viking defense. Keith Millard, 15 sacks on the year. It's incredible the year Millard's having.
Culver, the fullback, in front on the option, helping clear the way for Rice. He steps out at the 41-yard line of Penn State.
Yeah, part of that was the block by Rodney Culver, the fullback, and the rest of it was Tony Rice. We saw earlier Anthony Johnson do it. Watch the fullback right here. This is Rodney Culver, number 5. Watch the block that he gets after the fake. He's the one that really clears the inside. He blocks 31 Andre Collins, and that creates a huge lane for Rice. He makes a guy miss, and that's a good combination of block and run by the Irish.
17-yard gain. Then Rice now 8 carries for 62 yards. And the Notre Dame touchdown. Ricky Waters sidesteps a defender, has a first down, and he burst his way all the way to the 22-yard line.
Now, I was talking to Jim Strong, the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame, and he said, we have challenged Ricky Waters in the final part of the season. We want him to be our physical block. And he follows the block on the left side there by number 64, Mike Brennan, who comes around on Sean Wolf, number 75. The fullback kicks out, that's Johnson. And then Ricky Waters just runs right through the arm tackle.
He gained 19 on that play. Another first down from the 22. Inside handoff, Anthony Johnson. And a gain of 4. Givens on the tackle.
Boy, Mike Helt is getting some help from the guard, number 52, Tim Ryan, as they double-team Jim Dieter. One goes low, the other goes high. But it's great coordination. Look at that. They block max 6 yards. One goes low, one goes high, and then Anthony Johnson just hugs that double-team.
2nd and 6. Timeout called by Rice, as again the down clock was about to expire. Irish left with 1 timeout in the first half and trail by 3. Help clear the way for Tony Rice. 62 yards rushing here early. He's in the race for the Heisman as well.
Oh, that means everything, because it's more of a team award, and I don't think Tony could get it by himself, so to speak, without the rest of the team. And just knowing that Tony, and he cares about us, and he's told all of us that, you know, he cares about us, and that if he wanted, it'd just be the best, because, you know, we feel like we're helping him do it, and he respects us.
One thing everyone always mentions about Tony Rice, he saves his best for the big games. And he's off to a big start. 2nd down and 6 from the Penn State 18. Faking quickly and keeping, and Rice near the first down. I believe he has it at the 12-yard line. We're early in the second quarter at Beaver Stadium. Notre Dame, ranked number 1 in the country, in for a fight today against 17th ranked Penn State. The Nittany Lions a touchdown and a field goal on their 2 possessions today. And the Irish now driving and trying to take over the lead.
And it's been a day thus far, Jim, of linemen and defensive play and offensive linemen and nose tackles. And that's the kind of day it's going to be all day. It's going to be a 4th quarter game.
Lou Holtz sending in a play with Rod West, the backup tight end. You see Notre Dame just inches shy of the first.
You know, Jim, everybody falls in love with passing teams, but both these teams win by running the football. And Notre Dame in particular, when they get inside the 15-yard line, they are very tough, because they take the approach is we can run the ball 4 times and always pick up the first down.
Well, they come out, break the huddle with the wishbone now. Anthony Johnson's the fullback. The 2 tailbacks, Waters and Ismail, on 3rd and inches. Anthony Johnson advanced it just a little, and I think it's enough for the first. That's all he needed.
Just a little is right.
They've moved the chains. First down, Notre Dame.
And here on defense, on Penn State defense, you have to decide what you're going to try to do. Are you going to try to stop Anthony Johnson inside with your nose tackle or your linebacker, Andre Collins? Or do you force Tony Rice to pitch the ball and hope you get support from the secondary on the pitch?
Waters breaks the tackle and gives Notre Dame the lead. Touchdown.
Championship teams respond. This is a physical run by Ricky Waters. That's what they want, but it was a great block by the wide receiver, number 13 on the right of the screen, right there. Then Ricky set up Ricky Waters' touchdown. If Eilers doesn't make the block, Waters doesn't get in. But it's the timing of these Notre Dame blocks, too, that is so impressive. Just when the guy makes the block, the running back is right there to make the cut off the block.
58-yard drive in 6 plays. And Hendrick on for the extra point attempt. 15-10 Notre Dame. Ricky Waters breaking the tackle of Jim Dieter to get away from the line of scrimmage and take it on in for the go-ahead score. Ricky Waters, number 12, scoring from 12 yards out, and it's Notre Dame in front. Rivalry started here in 1913 at the old Beaver Field. In 1928, the series was shifted to Philadelphia because of the demand for tickets. And today, 86,000 plus at Beaver Stadium, the second largest crowd in Penn State history, to see number 1 Notre Dame against Penn State. Jim Nance along with Pat Hayden and John Dockery on a cold, wintry-like afternoon. But the action is hot. And Bobby Samuels is the return man, fielding it at the 9. Up the middle he goes. And a flag down on the field after the return to the 34-yard line. Sean Smith made the tackle, but a clip on the play will back up the Nittany Lions. So far in this game, total offense pretty even. In fact, Penn State's offense has driven it both times for a touchdown and a field goal. Rice, 67 yards rushing and the touchdown. Blair Thomas scoring the touchdown for Penn State. Bolkar in on 5 tackles.
You know, the scoring so far has kind of surprised me. I really thought it would be a lower scoring game, certainly in the first half. But also surprise has been Penn State's offense. They've shown a lot more life than they have the last couple of weeks.
That has been the big surprise. Sackett is 4 for 5 passing, but all of that in the first quarter when he had the win at his back. On 1st and 10, the give to Blair Thomas, and out to the 18-yard line.
You know, Blair Thomas will make a lot of 30 and 40 and 50-yard runs for you, but I think what's most impressive about him are those kind of runs. The 4 and 5 and 6-yard runs inside from tackle to tackle when he runs right through guys.
Got a Notre Dame defender down on the field, and it's Chris Zorich.
Wow. I think it was maybe Ned Bolkar, number 47, who landed on top of Zorich, right there on top of his shoulder. And again, it's going to happen when you have a defense that's flying around the football like Bolkar and Zorich and Alm and Dahl do. You're going to be running into your own guys from time to time. And Chris Zorich has had one sensational year at nose guard.
Well, Pat, let's remind the folks, we got a big week ahead. Thanksgiving weekend on Friday, college action. All kinds of Cotton Bowl implications in this game. Arkansas and Texas A&M. And then next Saturday, we have 2 games for you. Penn State against Pitt. And then later that day, let us be your ticket for Notre Dame against Miami. Zorich, back on his feet, was able to walk off to the sidelines under his own power. Replaced by Ridgely, 2nd and 4. Blair Thomas. They have been bumped forward, well, about a yard short of the first. Bolkar and Andre Jones.
Boy, did Andre Jones, number 7, come all the way from the weak side of the defense to make the play. I'll tell you, you are seeing a lot of fired-up guys today, including Andre Jones. Lined up on the weak side, ran all the way across the field to help with a tackle. That's the kind of day it is. It's going to be a 100% effort type of day.
Now on 3rd and 1. Penn State shows its own wishbone. Pitching it to Thomas. Pursuit in the backfield. Smagala ran him down. Andre Jones had broken through there to force him even wider. Penn State will have to punt.
Corner support, great corner support by Stan Smagala. He is up here. Now watch, he is just going to make the play right here. Smagala has been a guy that people try to test week in and week out, and every time he seems to make the play.
Doug Helkowski, a 38-yard average, into punt on 4th and 5. Waters is the deep man on the return. A couple of short guys in front, and that's Steve Bellis who was flanked by Pat Eilers, and Bellis makes the fair catch. Only a 30-yard punt into that wind. BYU looking good in the beehive boot.
A lot of traditional rivalries today, playing for all sorts of awards and bells and apple cups and all sorts of stuff like that on a very traditional day in college football.
What a great season for Duke. And Steve Spurrier. Now his name linked to practically every job in America.
Yep.
But I'll tell you, he is an outstanding football coach.
He may be coaching at 5 different places next year.
That'd be a new way of going about it. From the 48 of Penn State, Rice drops back, looking for Ismail, and he has him at the 32-yard line. Let's go down to the sidelines with our man, John Dockery. Doc?
You know, Jim Nance, it's interesting to watch Tony Rice. You don't see any of these hand warmers or anything on Tony Rice. Before the game, he had one around his waist. Guys keeping their hands warm. But before the game, Tony Rice's attitude, how he presents himself as a winner is all important. He took it off, threw it away, as if to say, hey, the cold won't bother me today.
Quickly 2 for 2 passing is Rice. And again, good numbers for him on the ground. On the first down play, Ricky Waters into the secondary and tackled by Leonard Humphreys along with Brian Chismar.
Boy, once again, the center, Mike Held, watch out the job that he does on Dieter. And again, if your running backs are going to have big holes like that, you need your offensive lineman. Dean Brown, number 71, really kind of does a job on his man. But Mike Held, the center, cleared Dieter all the way 3 yards to the left that made the big hole for Ricky Waters.
A 9-yard gain, 2nd and 1 from the 23. Anthony Johnson has the first down to the 17-yard line.
Notre Dame has had a remarkable year running the ball. And even better today. And that's even when defenses know they're going to run the football. And today, they are facing one of the nation's best defenses, the best scoring defense in all of America with Penn State.
Well, the most points scored on Penn State, 17 by Alabama. And Notre Dame is going in right now trying to top that figure here in the first half. Rice on first down to the 10-yard line. And a gain of 7.
Well, did you see the way Rice hugged his blocks by his backs? Both Anthony Johnson and Ricky Waters were there blocking, and Rice just kind of hugged those. Terrific timing as he just cuts off those blocks and picks up about 7. You know, all these guys, these runners at Notre Dame just seem to have a nice sense, a feel for the game of football.
2nd and 3. Waters tackled at the 5 by Leonard Humphreys. Had he been able to dodge Humphreys, it would have been another touchdown for Waters. But he has the first down. 1st and goal from the 5.
You know, clever formations that Notre Dame is using. They're using a lot of slot formation, 2 receivers to a side, to prevent Penn State from getting into an 8-man defensive front to stop the run.
Rod West, the extra tight end, comes in. Ismail drops back into the backfield. On first down, Anthony Johnson gets halfway there. Here's a man who has 31 rushing touchdowns on his career, including 10 this season.
Lots of guys squeeze yards, Jim, different ways. I think he squeezes extra yardage just out of his body lean, the way he carries the ball, leaning forward all the time.
Eilers now comes in as a tailback out of the wishbone on 2nd and goal. Anthony Johnson to the 1.
Again, with a 4-point lead, I think Lou Holtz is thinking 2 runs. Take 2 shots at getting the ball into the end zone. His offensive line is playing extremely well. He's He's got a fullback is running, and Joe Paterno is looking for a negative play out of his defense. We need Jeter or Giannetti or Schoenwolf to give us some penetration on defense.
Ismail brings in the play and is set to the right. Notre Dame lines up out of the eye. Johnson and Waters on 3rd and goal. Anthony Johnson, did he break the plane? No. Third straight run with Anthony Johnson, and he's inches shy.
Lou Holtz is thinking touchdown all the way here. Now again, they have 4 different ways of getting this ball in the end zone. They've got a quarterback sneak. They've got Anthony Johnson, the option either where Rice keeps it or pitches the ball on the corner of the defense.
It's 4th and goal. Penn State stopped Alabama just before the half in the same situation 3 weeks ago. Anthony Johnson, touchdown Notre Dame.
Scores.
Hendrick on the extra point try. Rush coming through there, but the kick is good.
This drive and this touchdown was set up by the center, Mike Helt, and his offensive lineman, and the running and blocking of the fullback, Anthony Johnson. He crosses the plane, and that's a Notre Dame score.
Those words were penned by sports writer Grantland Rice following Notre Dame's game with Army in 1924. Not only did Rice's writing immortalize this brilliant backfield, but led to an amazing accomplishment. The Four Horsemen are the only entire backfield in college football history to gain membership in the Hall of Fame. This is Brent Musburger recalling the great traditions of college football.
And the Irish have now scored on their last 3 possessions to lead at 21-10. Hendrick's kick bouncing around, scooped up at the 15-yard line by Bob Damon. And he gets to the 30. Penn State coming in with the nation's top scoring defense. Notre Dame's opponent next week, Miami, number 2. The most points, again, Alabama put 17 on the board against the Nittany Lions, and the Irish have surpassed that total here in the second quarter.
And they've done it because the offensive line thus far of Notre Dame has dominated the line of scrimmage. That has been the difference thus far in the game.
Chris Zorich is back in there at nose tackle. On 1st and 10, Blair Thomas running into Bowl Car after 2. John Dockery, your thoughts on the performance so far of Tony Sacca?
You know, Jim, I've been watching him, and I've been watching Joe Paterno, because remember before the game he said we would see both quarterbacks, Tom Bill and Tony Sacca. He has not gone near Tom Bill. Tom Bill still has his jacket on, so obviously it's Tony Sacca all the way at this moment.
2nd and 8. Sacca now. Pass batted down. Bob Dahl, his second tip of the day.
I'll tell you, they do a great job of getting in throwing lanes. Dahl and Alm in particular, the 2 defensive tackles. And they really kind of mirror the quarterback. As soon as they feel, number 93, watch him. As soon as they feel they can't get to the quarterback, they just mirror him. He's got 2 guys on him, and he still gets the hand up.
Looked like it hit him right in the elbow, too.
I tell you, you never know how many touchdowns those kind of plays save.
3rd and 8 from the 32. McDuffie in motion. Here comes the blitz. Terrell coming in. And Sacca is wrapped up by Bolcar. Penn State will have to punt.
Ned Bolcar right here makes his 7th tackle of the day. And we said it's his kind of game. He is in his element. It's a play action fake. He reads it, steps up inside, but still has just enough speed to put the stop on Saka. But you got to think that Ned Volkar is playing this game with a big smile on his face. He loves it.
Helkowski to punt for the second time. Blocked. Fielded by Eilers at the 50. And to the 48-yard line.
Guess who blocked it?
Anthony Johnson doing it all. Man who scored the last touchdown for the Irish coming in, getting a hand on it.
Just incredible to me. Number 22 will come right up the middle, but what makes Notre Dame special on special teams is they play their best guys. Ordinarily, Anthony Johnson would be sitting on the bench resting on the punt team, but not at Notre Dame. They want their best players on the field on punts and punt block. And that was all effort and determination by Johnson.
Snap was a little bit low, which held up Helkowski. That's the third punt this year he's had blocked. First and 10 from the 48. Rice, tackled by Collins. Really the first time today that Tony Rice has not had running room.
Everything Penn State does on defense starts with that man, number 31, Andre Collins. And they ask him to do a lot. They ask him to rush the passer, to fight off guards and centers, to play inside, to play pass defense. And he has done all extraordinarily well this entire season.
He's gone over 100 tackles on the season today. On 2nd and 11, setting up the screen for Johnson. Johnson trips into his own man, Tim Ryan, and picks up only about 5.
Well, it was a nice play, too, there by number 27 on defense, Gary Brown, their strong safety. They call Brown, or the strong safety position, the hero at Penn State. And they require him to do an awful lot. And Gary Brown has brought a lot of speed to that position for Penn State.
Football at the 44-yard line, 3rd and 6. Across the middle, Derek Brown, incomplete. Should have had that one.
That was the one that keeps a drive alive, too. A perfectly thrown ball by Rice, right in the numbers of Derek Brown.
First incompletion for Rice in four attempts. Bring in now Jimmy Sexton to punt, alternating Sexton with Craig Hendrick.
He is their pooch punter.
McDuffie standing at the 12. Oh, boy.
Ooh.
That pooch didn't work out.
Thank you very much.
Out of bounds at the 25-yard line.
Wow.
Only 19 yards.
Looks like one of your 9-irons.
Yeah, I've done that a few times, that's for sure. You might hear an ovation. It's for Tom Bill coming onto the field. A quarterback change made here with 2:29 left in the second quarter. Bill replaces Tony Saka. From the 25, 1st and 10. Blair Thomas will lose yardage. He'll lose 4 on the tackle by Bob Dahl. Tom Bill opened this season as the Penn State starting quarterback, but after the second game, he was suspended for public intoxication. He did not dress for 2 games, was suspended, but has worked his way back on the team. Joe Paterno and Tom Bill have admitted the youngster has a drinking problem, and the school is helping him recover. 2nd down, 13. Bill with Thomas out in front. Still going.
You know, in spite of the problems that Tom Bill has had, and they've been well documented here in State College, Pennsylvania, this guy is really looked upon as the leader of this offensive unit. He gives this team a spark. His gregarious style, the way he plays quarterback, he plays a little bit like Joe Kapp. Doesn't doesn't have the most accurate arm in all of college football, but he'll run, he'll throw short passes, he'll do whatever it takes to help this team win.
3rd and 8. Bill is run down by Scott Kowalkowski. And you see Notre Dame calling for its last timeout. 1 minute. 1 minute left before the intermission. Penn State will have to punt into the wind again. Back to the Irish. The home of the Nittany Lions, named for former Governor James Beaver some 100 years ago, and a founder of this school. 21-10 Notre Dame, about to get the football back as the Nittany Lions will punt into the wind.
And Notre Dame will have 1 minute, but no timeouts remaining.
Denny Johnson broke through last time for a block. Oh, this one was partially blocked again. Fielded by Bellis at the 48-yard line. Scott Kowalkowski.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right up the middle both times. First was Anthony Johnson. And number 37 right there in the middle of your screen goes right around the center very quickly. Runs through the up back. Now the up back should prevent that. But he ran right through the up back, reached the long paw over to make the stop. See how quick Kowalkowski, number 37, gets off? And Andre Collins, number 31, has got to get into more of his body to prevent that from happening.
From the 48, first down, Rice rolling and throwing and through the hands of Ismail. Rocket had a shot at it. Time to announce this week's Toyota Leadership Award winners, the team players who have been singled out by their schools. Today's game team leadership winners: Brian Chismar from Penn State. Brian, a marketing major from Swissvale, Pennsylvania. And Frank Jacobs from Notre Dame. Frank, an American Studies major from Highland Heights, Kentucky. Toyota donates a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. Frank Jacobs out with an ankle, out with a broken ankle against Air Force, but remembered here today. And on 2nd and 10, Rice throwing for Eilers, incomplete.
Jim was talking to the Jay Haas, the special teams coach at Notre Dame, right before the game on the field. He said with the win, he thought his field goal kicker, Hackett, could put it in from 45 to 50 yards. And to do that, to get him in the range, they need to get the ball down to around the 30-yard line. And they have 44 seconds remaining to do it.
Now it's 3rd down now, 3rd and 10. See number 14 in there. Ray Griggs is an extra receiver. Eilers as well. Ricky Waters at the bottom of your screen. Quarterback draw. And Rice breaks the tackle, gets the first down. That was Tony Rice on that play. He should have been stopped about 3 yards shy of the first, but he gains 13 instead.
You know, yeah, that should be a 4-yard gain. It really should be, and it should have been 4th down.
Rice 86 yards rushing in the first half. Top game of the year, 99 yards rushing against Southern Cal. Incomplete in the area of Derek Brown.
And again, the 30-yard line is about the key. They have to get to at least the 30 to give themselves a reasonable shot for that man Hackett to kick the field goal. Long of 46 on the year, Jim.
Pat, coming up at halftime, will update everybody on all the scores and highlights. Greg Gumbel and Mike Francesa will have a few thoughts about his Heisman candidates. 2nd and 10. Rice goes down at the line of scrimmage. Tackled by George Kidwell, backup linebacker. And now they rush onto the field.
And it's going to be a long field goal attempt. Penn State has to get those hands up because this ball will come out of their low.
This is Billy Hackett, 54-yard attempt. Sexton on the hold.
Boy, that was D'Onofrio, I believe, who was offsides there.
It's interesting, Notre Dame has made a change in its field goal kicker. They've let Hendrick kick early in the year, and now it's Hackett.
You know, it might have been the center's head there that moved him off, and he's not allowed to make that move before the ball. That really shouldn't have been a penalty.
Red ball, encroachment, defense. The clock will start on the snap, on the snap.
That should not have been a penalty. Drew him off sides.
49 yards. The attempt will be now for Billy Hackett. Never a chance. 21-10. The clock runs out on the first half. Notre Dame in front. Now let's go back to our New York studios for Greg Gumbel, our host of the College Football Report. Take it away, Greg.
It is really going down to the wire. Now, Mike Francesa still has his ballot sitting here, not filled out yet. Why? What's the reason?
I can't figure out who the best player is. Maybe you can.
Yeah, there are, by general acknowledgement, 5 finalists right now. Let's go through them. Major Harris at West Virginia. Has he fallen out of the picture?
I think he has. He just hasn't had the impact this year that he could have.
All right. How about Emmitt Smith down in Florida?
Emmitt had the big game against New Mexico, Greg. Overall, I don't think he's right now in contention. He had a very solid year, but he won't win it.
All right. Now, there's a quarterback down in Houston that I think, in my personal opinion, should be the Heisman winner today, and that's Andre Ware.
When you look at those numbers, Greg, if you're looking for the numbers guy this year, Andre Ware is your man.
Anthony Thompson has had probably a better career than everybody else, but is his performance this year going to be enough to do it?
He's steady, unspectacular, needs a big game. After last week's record-breaking game, needs a big game against Illinois.
All right, and then we come down to, I guess would be the front runner, Tony Rice.
The controversial candidate. Doesn't have the stats. Everyone talks about the wins and losses, the leadership. But when I was filling out my All-America team this week, I couldn't pick him as the All-America quarterback. How can I give him the Heisman?
So how are you going to fill this out?
We'll wait till next week.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Second half, just seconds away between Notre Dame and Penn State. Thank you for...
On 10.
The Irish have spread the wealth. Tony Rice, Ricky Waters, Anthony Johnson have all scored touchdowns. I'm Jim Nantz along with Pat Hayden. John Dockery is on the sidelines. Pat, the first half performance offensively for Notre Dame starts right up the middle, does it not?
They have been unbelievable right up the middle. The most simple play in football is running your fullback right over the center and their guards, and they have done a sensational job in the first half of doing that. Watch the center here again. Mike Helt, he gets some help from number 52, Tim Ryan, and they just blow Jim Dieter back 5 or 6 yards. And the special teams have been awfully solid down the middle as well. Scott Kowalkowski, number 37, he's going to jump right around the center, run over the up back, Andre Collins, and block the second punt of the first half by Kowalkowski.
So Notre Dame leads it 21-10 over Penn State. We're about to get underway for the second half. We'll be right back with that after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of today's CFA game is sponsored by Today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why nobody's winning like the heartbeat of America. GMAC, the official sponsor of America's Dreams. And by the makers of Tom's, the sodium-free antacid that's rich in calcium.
Well, temperature now in the 20s as we get set for the second half. Notre Dame and Penn State. There's a lot of wind. Penn State may have to throw the football. John Dockery asked Joe Paterno how that would affect his team.
Well, we'll have to if we can't do, you know, if they score another one, we're going to have to throw the football regardless of the win. But I hope we can hold them and see whether we can start to just peck away at this thing.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Now, at the start of the game, Penn State won the coin toss and elected to defend the goal to the east. So that gave Notre Dame the choice for the second half. The Irish will get the football here in the third quarter and will have the wind at their backs in the final quarter. Rakib Ismail will return if they kick it to him. He's standing at the 8. Bobby Samuels is holding the ball on the tee for Ray Tarassi. Tarassi kicks it Ismail's way from the 6. And the rocket is stopped at the 29-yard line.
And a very important series for the Penn State defense. Trailing 21-10. They need to set the tone right here and get the ball back with the wind at their backs.
Some of the stats from the first half, the field position starting point, Notre Dame 42-yard line. Not bad.
Wow.
Big difference. Second quarter. Now from the 29 on 1st and 10, first play of the third quarter. It's the Rocket breaking the tackle and picking up 12 to the 41-yard line. Willie Thomas hit him first, but Gary Brown and D'Onofrio made the tackle. Now for first half possessions, Notre Dame punted, then 3 straight drives for touchdowns, a punt and a missed field goal at the end of the second quarter. A quick first down here. Waters now in at tailback. Waters up the middle for 9, maybe 10.
You know, in the play before this, we saw Ismail out of the backfield run right over Willie Thomas. And it's incredible about Ismail. He's 5'10 and 170 yards, but they say he's their most physical runner. And that's what Lou Holtz likes about him. That's why he puts him in the backfield from time to time and tosses him the ball.
He's in a slot right. Tony Smith wide to the right on 2nd and 1. Anthony Johnson, well, nothing there. Andre Collins in on him first.
Andre Collins is the soul of this defense for Penn State. It all starts with this guy right here, number 31. He'll come into the middle of your screen. Good charge again by the offensive line. Giannetti, number 85, disrupts the rhythm. And then Andre Collins wraps up Anthony Johnson, and then Schoenwald finishes him off. That was good team defense. His 8th tackle of the day.
One of 19 children. His brother, Jerry, is a backup tailback. 3rd and 1. Tony Rice for the first down. And corralled down by Sherrod Raines, but another 5 yards for Tony Rice. He's up to 90 now for the day.
Well, what a rushing attack it has been for Notre Dame today, and really all season. They've had a lot more success to their left and running up the middle. But when they've run the most basic play in the football, just give the ball to the fullback right over the center.
1st and 10 from the 44-yard line of Penn State. Running it with Ricky Waters. Notre Dame just blowing them off the line of scrimmage here on the opening drive of the third quarter. That's another 9, maybe 10 yards.
And we said at the very beginning of the broadcast it was going to be a lineman's game. The offensive line of Notre Dame has been all of that today. They've been sensational. The right guard right here blocking Collins of Notre Dame. Watch as he comes off the ball. It's 52 Ryan, who just ties up Collins 5-6 yards deep in the secondary.
It was a first down for Waters. Now Rice, only a yard to the short side of the field. That side of the field belonged to D'Onofrio and Gary Brown.
We're talking about Tim Ryan on that block just a moment ago, Jim. He is a guy that has a remarkable knack of being able to pull and adjust and find linebackers and defensive ends. Number 52 right there in the middle of your screen has done a great job of that all year. He pulls, he adjusts, and he finds the right guy to block.
2nd down and 9. Ismail back in at tailback. They run it with the Rocket. Look out if he gets the corner. Down to the 8-yard line. 26-yard run by Raghib Ismail.
And look who made the stop downfield. It was Andre Collins, the inside linebacker. And again, they talked about him being a physical player. Anthony Johnson, number 22, picks up a block. He runs by Dean Brown, picks up a block by his wide receiver, number 82, Pollard. And again, the well-timed block, the nice cut off it, but it was a saving tackle by Andre Collins.
Ball is at the 7-yard line. 1st and goal. The pitch gets away from Waters. And he wisely bats it out at the 18. Gary Brown was in on Rice as he was trying to make the pitch. He led Waters too much.
Gary Brown is a guy who's played pretty well, or played pretty well in the first half. Number 27. And he forced Tony Rice to pitch the ball much earlier than he wanted to. That was a nice play by the strong safety, Gary Brown.
A loss of 10. Second and goal from the 17. Here they come around on the reverse with the rocket. Willie Thomas bumps him out inside of the 5.
And it was 295 pounds of Tim Grunhard who really knocked over 2 or 3 guys. Right here from the slot formation, you're going to see Ismail. They use him in a lot of different ways, in the wishbone. But watch number 75, Grunhard, who just runs right through Willie Thomas, number 25. But again, that's the problem with defending this team. Ismail lines up in the backfield. He lines up in a wishbone, I formation in the slot. You always have to know where he is.
Now 3rd and goal from the 4. Rice intercepted and then dropped. Oh. Penn State football. Dieter had the interception. The ball was free, and it was recovered by the Nittany Lions.
Remember the Alabama game when Rich Schoenwolf intercepted number 72 right in the middle of your screen. Jumps up, tips the ball, and that's a nice catch by the nose tackle. Then he fumbles it. He had possession, then he fumbles it. And there's about 3 or 4 blue jerseys around to make the recovery. But Dieter made an interception this game. Schoenwolf made one against Alabama.
I think Dieter was so surprised. I'm not really sure he had full possession of it. He was bobbling around until the ball finally popped loose. So Penn State takes over from the 2. Bill is the quarterback. Blair Thomas. Blair Thomas for 14 yards. Finally tackled by Stan Smagala.
Let's take another look at the interception by Jim Dieter, number 72, right there in the middle of your screen. And the key, Jim, is obviously whether he has full possession of it. He tips it there.
Still tipping it.
And then it was Grunhard who actually knocked the ball away from him. That is actually slow motion. I actually thought he did have possession, and Grunhard knocked it away.
1st and 10. Here's Jerry Collins. He fumbles back. Picked up by Notre Dame. Stan Smagala on the recovery of Jerry Collins. Just inserted for Blair Thomas, the younger brother of Andre Collins. Fell over his own man. The ball popped loose, and Smagala was there.
Bob Dahl, number 93, who really caused all the big pile of bodies there that caused the fumble. But Blair Thomas, I think, got hurt at the play before, and that's why Collins came in.
Now from the 14 of Penn State. Ricky Waters slashing and picking up 4 yards. D'Onofrio on the tackle.
Well, if Penn State is going to get back in this ball game and eventually win it, their defense again must stop Notre Dame from getting 7 points here. They had the turnover just a moment ago, but they need another one.
2nd and 6. Smith at the bottom of your screen. Ismail in the slot. They run it left. On the option, Rice will keep it. Only a yard. Kidwell and Andre Collins on the tackle.
George Kidwell and Andre Collins. Kidwell, number 91 for Penn State, did a great job of fighting off the block of Anthony Johnson that time to make the play. Kidwell has played very well in this game.
Last team to score after a takeaway from Penn State was Virginia in the 1st quarter of the 1st game. Now the 3rd down play. Rice leans for the 1st down. You
know, he forces you to stretch the defense so much and defend the perimeter that as soon as he sees a soft spot over the middle, he'll cut it right back. And that's Jim Dieter, the nose tackle for Penn State, who he has been getting double teamed all day long. A lot of bodies flying around on the inside when you're running that many plays inside. Again, it's Helton against Dieter, number 72. And he got rolled, his ankle, looked like he got his ankle rolled up on the backside.
Tony Rice trying to stretch it out for every last inch. They're measuring for the first down. We'll take a break at Penn State.
Stadium behind me, they're still working on Jim Dieter, the man who made the interception only moments ago. And this is even more of a problem for Penn State, because some of you may recall a few weeks back against Alabama, the backup nose tackle George Akindo was injured. He's not on the team right now. He's still getting over those injuries. May never play again, but Jim Dieter now going off the field. We'll try to get you an updated report on him. Jim and Pat?
You're right. Akindo, Doc, was advised not to play football again. So now they're down to their third nose tackle. And the way Notre Dame has been running the ball right over their center, Mike Helt, that is a very key position.
While we were away, they measured for the first down. And Rice did indeed stretch far enough for it. So it's 1st and goal. Todd Berger comes in to replace Dieter. Now Rice faking into the line and picking up a yard. Sherrod Range and Chismar.
And again, and Notre Dame is down in what is called their 4-down zone. They figure with a lead of 21-10, they can have 4 runs. It's 2nd down now, so they have 3 runs remaining to try to pick up those 3 yards to the end zone.
We told you at the start of the day there was a big snowstorm this morning. The flurries have returned. 2nd and goal from the 3. Out of the wishbone, they give to the Rocket. And Ismail somersaults short of the touchdown.
Amazing thing about Ismail, as we said, 5'10", 170, but you don't have to be 220 pounds to be a physical back. He is a physical player even at the 170 pounds. He's not afraid to run inside and bounce off linemen and linebackers.
Now 3rd and goal from the 1. Rice has scored 1 touchdown today already. Here he keeps and falls in for his 2nd touchdown. The football for a moment in the belly of Anthony Johnson, pulled it back in, and it just fell back across the goal line for the touchdown. Extra point by Craig Hendrick. Notre Dame now with 28 points on the board.
Bill Bradley once wrote a book called A Sense of Where You Are, and Tony Rice has that sense. This play was supposed to go outside. He gets banged inside. He knows he only has a yard to go for the end zone, and then he just pushes his way through it. Again, it's supposed to go outside. Good penetration in there. It looked like it was Kidwell. Forced Rice to adjust, and adjust he did for the touchdown. It's a guy who plays with a smile on his face.
Leading rusher for this team, and today he is once again 20 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's moving in on 800 yards rushing for the season. Tomorrow, join us for the NFL Today, starting at 12:30. Boy, George Seifert's quite a story out there in San Francisco. The job he's done this year, taking over for Bill Walsh. There's the regional action, the 4 o'clock games. Regional coverage. Some will see the Cards and the Rams or Green Bay against those 49ers. Mikowski still questionable for that game.
How about Joe Montana? He is on a streak. 6 touchdown passes the last 2 weeks. I think he's getting better. I think Montana's getting better.
Hendricks kick away. Short. Will bounce around. Samuels must be careful. And it's actually fielded by O.J. McDuffie. Ball got held up in the wind. fell short. Let's go to John Dockery. Doc?
Jim Nance, I don't know if you can see behind me Jim Dieter's ankle. They're working on it there. It's his right ankle. They're taking off the tape, and they had to cut off part of his shoe and the tape. So I doubt if we're going to see him back. I haven't gotten any official report, but it is his right ankle. They're working on it right now. Back to you guys.
Well, Doc, it was interesting. Todd Berger replaced Dieter in that last series, and again, Tony Rice ran right over where Dieter would have been for the touchdown.
1st and 10 from the 21. Blair Thomas. Good gain. Tackled by Kowalkowski.
You know, Penn State trails 28-10, and they have about 8.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter when they have the win. If they're going to throw the football, now is the time to do it, because it's going to be very difficult to do it in the fourth quarter.
Tom Bill came in the final 2 minutes of the second quarter, relieving the starter, Tony Sacca. He has not thrown his first pass of the game. Again, he's flushed out of the pocket and runs for good yardage. Todd Light finally bumps him out near midfield. This Tom Bill, the team loves him. They say he's a Jim McMahon type leader, will butt helmets with the linemen, hangs out with them. He gains 20 on that play.
And if they're going to get back in the game, it's going to be Tom Bill and Blair Thomas. Bill's going to have to come up with a couple of passes to a receiver, and Dave Daniels has been their big receiver. And then Blair Thomas is again going to have to carry a lot of the load.
First down from the 48-yard line. Wishbone formation. McDuffie gets the carry, and a loss on the play of a yard. Jeff Alm makes the tackle. The snow will just come right in over that Nittany Mountain range. They've had the lights on since this morning, when we had to endure the first blizzard of the day. Blew through here after about an hour. They didn't clear it up. Blue skies, but back come the snow clouds. Second down, Bill. Pass to McDuffie, and the reception is made.
Boy, was that a nice catch by O.J. McDuffie. They have fully extended. A lot of guys, when they dive for the ball like that, can't control it when they come down. That means he has a good grip on the ball when he dives out to catch it. That's a heads-up play.
14 yards on the play.
Now, one foot's got to come down. He's got possession. Clearly, he was in with the feet.
This O.J. McDuffie, number 24, is just a sophomore from Gates Mills, Ohio. Big play man. Returned a punt this year for a touchdown. Dangerous on a reverse. Now on first down, Bill looking to pass again with the protection. Now he'll run it. Volcar hits him at the 35-yard line.
Well, Tom Bill plays the position like he's a part fullback. I mean, he dances around back there if he can't find anything downhill. Then he'll take off. Pretty good coverage downfield here. And then Tom Bill here, and then he's just going to scramble. But again, give the coverage of Notre Dame some credit. Bill didn't force the ball, still trying to make something happen.
Leroy Thompson in at fullback. Blair Thomas, the tailback. 2nd and 7. Thomas has the first down. Chris Zorich made the tackle along with the Juan Francisco.
And a nice lead block by Dave Zott, number 79, the right guard, who pulled out and adjusted on the run real well. Dave Zott has done a nice job, not only today, but this entire year, pulling. He gets real deep, and then he adjusts real well and picks up guys to block.
Here's a guy, Dave Zott, who was a guard as a sophomore, a nose tackle last year as a junior, and returned to the offensive line this year. 1st and 10 from the 26. Play action fake into the line. Bill rifles complete to the 9-yard line. 17 yards to Terry Smith.
Boy, this ball was a frozen rope by Tom Bill. And he has some courage. He hangs back there in the pocket, and that's what his teammates like Smith, but a nice catch, but starts with the protection. Roger Duffy, the center, is doing a nice job with the nose tackle. Monahan and Love and Flanagan, all the guys inside doing a nice job of protection.
Just inside the 10, it's 1st and goal. Blair Thomas trips momentarily and gets near the 5. Lost his footing for just a second.
Well, we have talked, Jim, a lot about Notre Dame's offensive line, but in this series, the offensive line for Penn State has come alive. And that time, it was Mac McCart, number 64, who really came around and cleared the way for Blair Thomas. Number 64 right there in your screen. He did a great job of pulling with some depth.
Matt McCartan actually was at SMU when they were hit with the death penalty, transferred up here. 2nd and goal. Faking, and now here comes the rush of Smagala. He gets away. McDonald's after him, and he's pushed out of bounds by Don Grimm.
Maybe they should play him at fullback and nose tackle. An offensive guard. He can play a lot of places.
Boy, Smagala was on quickly, wasn't he?
Yeah, Stan Smagala is a guy, Jim, that, you know, we have seen other teams tell us they think they can pick on Stan Smagala. I'll tell you, when they do, he always seems to answer the bell, both in the run and the pass.
Senior from Burbank, Illinois, played high school football with Tim Grunhard, who's made some good plays at St. Lawrence High School. Now, timeout on the field, called by Penn State. They face 3rd and goal from the 3, trailing 28-10. Final 5 minutes. Quarter number 3. In the rolling hills and beautiful countryside in the middle of the state of Pennsylvania. Notre Dame and Penn State at Beaver Stadium. 2nd largest crowd ever here as the #1 ranked team in the country came to town today. They lead at 28-10, but the home folks are looking for a score here. It's 3rd and goal from the 3. Pat, you have to figure Penn State looks at it as 2 downs to get the 3 yards.
They absolutely need the touchdown. You have to think they're going to give it to their best back, Blair Thomas, and see if his offensive line can clear the way. Ned Bolcar versus Blair Thomas, I would think.
Thomas, the lone setback. They go with Blair, and he fights his way in for the touchdown. Now will they go for 2?
Well, he has sent out Tarassi.
Now here comes Ray Tarassi, leaving the sideline and onto the field. 28-16 is the score. Blair Thomas, his 2nd touchdown of the day. Both touchdowns of the Nittany Lions. Extra point is good.
Well, Jim, we said Blair Thomas and Ned Bolcar was going to be the matchup to watch. 47 in the middle of your screen, and Blair Thomas just squeezes through, right past, and right through the tackle of Bolcar.
17. Notre Dame and Penn State have exchanged touchdowns in the 3rd quarter. Penn State about to kick the football away to the Irish. Rocket Ismail standing at the 14-yard line. They break out of the huddle and kick it quickly. Bounces around, and the Rocket looking for the handle. Now was a knee down at the 10.
Yeah.
Well, I think he should be ruled down at the 10.
He will be down at the 10.
Now here comes another official over to say the knee was down, and they'll spot it at the 10-yard line.
But a clever play by Joe Paterno's kickoff team. Has possession, not there. When he gains possession, he's down on the right knee. Clearly he is down. But a clever play. They never spread out in the kick formation.
Ismail shakes the tackle of Thomas and gets the first down at the 23-yard line. Tackled by Todd Berger.
What Ismail is both fast and elusive physically elusive, but Ismail is.
I'm telling you, they were backed up to the 10. The student body of Penn State at their backs, and you could just see the smile on the face of Tony Rice. Now on first down again, it's Ricky Waters. Waters steps out at the 30.
Nice play by Sherrod Range, the free safety, where Waters goes maybe for another 10, 15 yards.
2 plays, however, Notre Dame is able to advance the football 21 yards and get out of that jam.
Sherrod Range, the free safety. A lot of guys play that position with speed. He plays the free safety position on anticipation.
Eilers and Tony Smith, the receivers. Second and short. Rocket. Ismail runs into one of the officials.
With the umpires not there, maybe Ismail goes.
He's got 6 carries today, 65 yards.
Watch the umpire right there in the middle of the screen. If he gets out of the way, Ismail makes a different cut. He cuts to his right and maybe is gone. But even the umpire can't get out of his way.
First and 10 from the 40. Here's a quick burst by Rodney Culver up front. And Culver gets to the 46-yard line of Penn State. 14 yards on the carry by Culver. If you've just joined us, boy, a lot more scoring than many anticipated. Thomas scoring in the first quarter, giving Penn State the edge. Rice back with a score to knot it at 7. Tarassi's field goal put Penn State in front 10-7. Ricky Waters on a 12-yard scamper, 14-10. Anthony Johnson on a 4th down play scored from the 1. And then Tony Rice, his second touchdown. Blair Thomas matched Rice, his second touchdown of the day. 28-17 is the score. And first down, Rice. He'll go over 100 yards rushing with that effort. He gets to the 36-yard line. Tony Rice has his best days in big games, and he's having another one today. 21 carries, 101 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns.
And it's been a day of offensive linemen, particularly for Notre Dame, who have dominated the line of scrimmage. And fullback Anthony Johnson, who's also blocked extremely well and run awfully tough inside.
2-week power drive for the nation's #1 ranked team. Penn State today, at Miami next week. First and 10. And a give to Ismail to the 26-yard line. This drive started at their own 10-yard line, and Notre Dame just full steam ahead.
And that time it was Ryan and Mike Brennan, the weak side guard and tackle, leading the way. These offensive linemen don't get caught off at the line, or close to the line of scrimmage when they're pulling with defensive linemen. They get deep, and they got plenty of room to make the blocks for Ismail and Waters.
I don't know if you saw one of those scores. The Docksters got to be happy. Harvard won the game today against Yale.
He's wearing his Harvard tie I saw earlier.
Second and 1. And Waters picks up the first. He got to the 25-yard line. Sean Wolf on the tackle. Pat Baggett came up from free safety to help out. Waters moving in on 100 for the day.
Nowhere on an offensive football team is coordination more necessary than in the offensive line. And what we have seen here today with Notre Dame is guys knowing exactly what the guy next to him in the offensive line is going to do. Tremendous communication in that offensive line.
Well, they've been running. Have they set him up for a pass? Or do they stay with the ground? It's been so effective for him. Eilers right, Ismail slot right. Run the option. And in there, immediately down by Berger, is Rice.
It's Brian Chismar, I think, number 28, who was in there as well.
Never able to get that option left going.
Chismar is one of those productive guys. You know, you don't notice him much. You look at the end, up at the end of the game, and he's got 15 tackles.
A loss of a yard on the play. 3rd and 11. Or 2nd and 11. Waters bouncing around for only 2. Hey, this Todd Berger, number 67, has been on a lot of plays since stepping in for the injured Jim Dieter.
Well, he has, and what he has done is gotten off the ball incredibly quickly. He's not waiting around, only a freshman, but he's not waiting around. He's getting off the ball very, very quickly.
In on 3 tackles. Dieter again out with the ankle that John Dockery reported he will not be back today. Now it's 3rd down. 3rd down and 9. Culver comes in, replacing Anthony Johnson at fullback. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. And Rice throws complete right at the 1st down yardage. It's Pat Eilers.
Pat Eilers has not dropped a pass in 2 years. They don't throw the ball to him much. He's very much a role player. They use him to block, but this ball is right on the numbers from Rice to Eilers, and watch how he comes back to the ball. You know, Eilers started at Notre Dame as a defensive back. But they said they needed a tough physical guy to be able to block at wide receiver, and he has done that all season long.
Well, he knew where he had to get for the 1st down. He starts for him at split end. That's only his 5th catch of the year. Tackled right away. Rodney Culver. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score, Notre Dame 28. Penn State 17. College football on CBS Sports will return after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of today's CFA game is sponsored by Visa. Accepted at nearly 7 million places worldwide. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. The U.S. Army, where you get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by Michelob Dry. Bold taste with no aftertaste. Mick Dry refreshes completely.
Welcome back to frigid Beaver Field. It's Notre Dame by 11. Hard to believe as hot as this game has been. The wind chill factor now -2 degrees, Jim and Pat. Critical series, critical play right now. 2nd and 10 for the Penn State defense. Back to you guys.
Penn State trailing 28-17. Irish on the drive again. Coming right into that end zone where the student body is waiting for him. Anthony Johnson picks up only about 3. It'll be 3rd and 6. Collins on the tackle. And while we have a moment, let's get an update on what's happening in college football with Greg Gumbel. Greg.
Well, Jim, Virginia needs a win for a share of its first ever ACC title. Marcus Wilson goes in from 3 yards out, and with under 10 minutes to play in the first half, Virginia and Maryland are tied at 14. Back to Happy Valley.
And I'll tell you, you can ask Penn State about Maryland. Terrapins tied them last week at 13. Now big 3rd down play. 3rd and 6. Straight ahead with Johnson. And he's going to be a little bit shy of the 1st down.
I'll tell you, it is ugly in there running that ball through the middle, but I'll tell you, Anthony Johnson runs ugly awfully well. Man.
4th down and less than a yard. And after thinking about it, Lou Holtz sends in the field goal unit.
And Penn State needs a big play out of their special teams, a block. Make something happen here.
Sexton on the hold for Billy Hackett. This will be a 22-yard attempt straight away, right in the middle of the field. Hackett's kick. It's good. Good from the right side, in the right side. And that has to be somewhat of a victory there for the Penn State defense. They stay within 2 scores at 31-17. Let's go down to John Dockery.
You know, Jim Nance, you and Pat Hayden have been talking a lot about Anthony Johnson while I'm with his mother, Marty, and you were telling me an interesting story about Anthony Johnson. One of his boyhood heroes actually went to Penn State.
That's right, John Cappelletti, number 22, and he's always had that number, so he's really like John Cappelletti.
Did Anthony ever think about going to Penn State?
No, they recruited him, but his heart's never been at Penn State. He's just like John Cappelletti.
What did it come down to in terms of colleges for him?
It really came down to the wire with Michigan and Notre Dame, and he opted for the Irish, and we're excited about that.
You must be a proud mom.
We've been really excited. The Lord has blessed him with so many talents, and we've been blessed by it too, so it's been exciting.
Well, we've certainly enjoyed watching him play. Congratulations. Now back to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, Doc and Jim, he plays a lot like John Cappelletti, and I don't think those 47 yards that he has had rushing really tell the story, because those all been very tough yards when they needed him on third down primarily, and he's blocked extremely well too.
John Cappelletti won Heisman Trophy, of course, here, Penn State, 73.
Great player he was.
Teammate of yours at the Rams. Hendrick. Driving kick, McDuffie backpedals and slips. The ball, he hit the ground with his knee at the 4-yard line. He was down really at the 3, I guess you could call it. Well, just a moment ago, the Kodak Coaches All-America team was announced. And at quarterback, Major Harris. Thompson and Smith, the running backs. No Rocket on this team. Clarkston Hines and Terrence Mathis from New Mexico. There you see the offensive line. Garton from Colorado's had a big year. Jake Young is the center from Nebraska. We'll show you the All-America Coaches All-America defense in a moment. 1st and 10 from the 3. Blair Thomas picks up 9. Close to a first down. A little more than 9 yards. And Blair Thomas, 20 carries, 83 yards today, and 2 touchdowns.
Boy, everybody in the stadium, and particularly the defensive players, know that Blair Thomas is going to get the ball this part of the field, but a terrific hole on the right side. Dave Zott, in particular, and McCartan cleared the way for Blair Thomas. And again, that vision. He just picks those holes and finds the soft spot.
2nd and less than 1. Leroy Thompson picks up the first down. Well, he actually slides forward to the 18-yard line. Now the Coaches All-America team on defense. Greg Mark from Miami. And look at the rest. Mo Gardner makes it at nose tackle ahead of Chris Zorich. Linebackers, Percy Snow, Keith McCants, James Francis. Carrier, Todd Light from Notre Dame. The lone player from Notre Dame to make the Coaches All-America squad. 1st and 10, Blair Thomas. Tackled from behind by Jeff Alm, and a loss on the play. What did you think of that team, Penn?
Well, I am just shocked that Chris Zorich did not make it at nose tackle. I mean, he has had an incredible year. That man, number 1, Todd Light, deserved to be on the team with 8 interceptions. He's played awfully well. Guards, always the best receiver on the opposition. But I don't know how you keep Chris Zorich off the team.
I'll give you another stat. Notre Dame has won 22 in a row. Last year, they did not have one member of their team make first-team Coaches All-America. This year, only 1. And Lou Holtz has not been named Coach of the Year either year. So how are they winning? Here's the pass by Bill. Incomplete, intended for Dave Jacob.
You know, it's an interesting point, Jim. I think everybody just assumes that Lou Holtz gets more talent than anybody in America, and he gets some good players, but you have to do something with them once they get there. And he's done a pretty good job of coaching some talented players. Look at those guys. Bolcar, we said it was his kind of game. Smagala, he loves to get out there getting dirty. Dawes tipped some passes, 2 of them today.
He's been a big tipper today, unlike yourself.
You beat me to it.
Third and long, and Bill, stiff arms, 1 defender.
Oh, the old fake.
Oh, he's going to pick up the first if he stays on his feet. He does.
Remember the old fake on the grammar school on the sandlots where you fake, you're going to throw it, and the defensive guy jumps up? Well, that's what Tom Bill did there to Ned Bolcar. Watch him. He come down. He's going to break through a couple of tackles. Does his Joe Cap, gives him the old Heisman there, and then the old fake. Bolcar goes up and right through the tackle. You can see why his teammates like Tom Bill as their leader.
Well, he's come out of the pocket and run for 47 yards on 6 attempts. 31-17, Notre Dame, and Blair Thomas on the first down carry picks up only a yard. Well, what about the Heisman story? Let's get an update on that situation as we go back to Greg Gumbel.
Well, Jim, one of the contenders has had a busy day today, and that's Indiana running back Anthony Thompson, one of the members of that coach's All-American team. Against Illinois today, 24 carries, 96 yards, no touchdowns in the first half as the Illini lead Indiana 28-14. And Pat.
4 yards a carry. He's getting the football a lot. And now, incomplete. Flannery was in there quickly.
Yeah, Tom Bill had a face full of Brian Flannery, number 92. Now, Flannery is a guy who shares that position with Bob Dahl. Now, ordinarily you play about 70 plays on defense. They share it. He can give you 35 plays that he plays hard every single one of those.
There's a look at the senior from Lakewood, Ohio. Notre Dame seniors had their final home game last week in a game against SMU. Oh, here comes the reverse to McDuffie. He gets away from Flannery. Flag is down back there. And Todd Light finishes him off short of the first.
Late flag, but I think they're going to call a clip on Tom Bill, the quarterback, who blocked Flannery.
Boy, Pittsburgh in a shootout today against East Carolina, winning 47-42. BYU putting a 70 on the board against Utah. Ohio State, John Cooper have very quietly had a good season.
And took a lot of criticism early in the year, but has come on very strongly in the latter half.
Flipping against the offense. Repeat, third down.
Right of the screen, Bill, number 12, is going to hit right into the back of Flannery. Kind of a little baby block there, but nonetheless, it is a clip. He pushed him first and then got his head around in the front. But I think they called him for the clip on the push.
Well, interesting. Notre Dame will take the penalty. Penn State would have been short of the first and would have had to punt into the wind anyway.
But now they figure they can hold them here, force a punt, and get the ball inside the 50.
Fresno State about to leave the ranks of the unbeaten. New Mexico and Coach Mike Shepard with a big game today. Virginia looking for a piece of that ACC title with a victory today against Maryland, if they can do it.
Boy, George Welsh has done a nice job this year at Virginia. Nobody thought Clemson would dominate that conference this year, maybe get tested by North Carolina State.
Third down, 25.
Well, this is a tough call, 3rd and 25 against Notre Dame.
Especially into a 25-mile-an-hour wind. Oh, man's open. And Blair Thomas. What do you think, Pat? I thought he should have made a better effort for that one. It's just a little low at him.
He didn't adjust on the ball well, and I think that happens sometimes when you throw the ball into that wind. It comes away from the receiver, and I think the ball just trailed on him, and Thomas did make the adjustment.
Elkowski now with his first punt of the second half. Remember, his last 2 punts have been partially blocked. No pressure this time, but boy, the kick, not a good one. Into that wind. Ball is down at the 46-yard line. We have 10 minutes left in the contest. Notre Dame leads it by 2 touchdowns.
Good afternoon for Tony Rice. He's over 100 yards, right in the middle of the Heisman race. Obviously, it's an important day for Tony Rice. Interesting to note that Tony Rice is doing this despite the fact on a typical Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, Tony Rice will arrive late for practice. Earlier in the year, our cameras caught number 9 coming to practice late, about 40 minutes late, because of psychology labs that he has in the afternoon. Tony Rice may miss some practice time on the football field, but certainly Notre Dame doesn't miss the point. It's education first and athletics second. Jim and Pat?
Well, he will graduate, Doc, this May in 4 years with a degree in psychology. 100 yards rushing today, 2 touchdowns. 1st and 10, and the pitch to Raghib Ismail into Penn State territory. And the Rocket rolling up some good numbers rushing. 12:30 tomorrow. The NFL Today gets our Sunday underway. Brent and Nerve, Dick and Will. Then regional coverage. Many will see Minnesota against Philadelphia. Tampa Bay, Chicago. You know, the Bucks beat the Bears. In Week 5, it was the first loss of the year for Chicago at that time. 4 o'clock game. Some of you will get that game late. It'll be Phoenix, Rams, or Green Bay, San Francisco.
I'm looking forward to seeing that Viking defense against Randall Cunningham. Should be a good matchup.
Ismail near the first down at the 43-yard line.
Now, make no mistake about it, Ragib Ismail is not a scat back. I mean, he will run, he will take the ball inside for you. I mean, there's some big bodies in there. I mean, Collins and Chismar and Berger and Schoenwolf. He's not afraid to take the potato inside.
Nine carries, 84 yards. And they're going to measure for the first down. Potato, huh?
I don't know where I got that one. Quite honestly, it came out of nowhere. I don't know why.
And it is a first down. And Ragib Ismail moving in on his best rushing performance of his career. He had 92 yards against Air Force. Now more snow coming in. First down, Notre Dame. 9:45 left in the contest. 31-17.
And Penn State down by 2 touchdowns. They cannot let Notre Dame score any points here on this drive.
Colbert in at fullback. And run it with Waters.
Oh.
Waters down the sideline. And out of bounds at the 1.
Unbelievable block by Rodney Culver, the fullback, just flattened Brian Chismar. And Notre Dame has got tremendous production out of their offensive line. Watch number 5, right there in the middle of the screen. He just buries Chismar, got all on his chest, and then it was 71, Dean Brown, who really allowed Waters to get to the outside and down to the 1. We have seen some great blocking and guys sticking on blocks today.
They're going to move it back to the 4-yard line. A gain of 40. First and goal. Waters, no gain. Ricky Waters over 100 yards now to join Tony Rice. 15 carries, 128 yards, and a touchdown for Waters.
Well, this Notre Dame team, including Ricky Waters, just they play so well together, Jim. I mean, they have a lot of different ways to beat you, obviously, but they time their blocks beautifully. The guys seem to really care about the guy next to them, and I think that makes them a pretty special team.
Out of the wishbone, second and goal. West End is a tight end. Flags are down. There was movement on the right side. May have been Dean Brown, the right tackle.
All 300 pounds of Dean Brown. It's tough to miss him when he moves early. Lower left your screen, watch number 71. 300 pounds. That's a lot of man, Dean Brown. He's a guy that Lou Holtz lets address the team twice a week. Dean Brown does. Gets up and always cracks his teammates up. Funny man.
Miami hosting San Diego State. And the Canes big early.
Boy, now they have a pretty good defense we saw a week ago. That front 4 of Miami is awesome.
They'll just be waiting for the Irish next Saturday. Second and goal from the 9. Dorsey Levens in the game as a tailback. Rice to the 3-yard line. Tackled by Chismar. Now it'll be third and goal. Alabama stays unbeaten. They're just heading for that showdown. It's never been seen before, anything like it in the state of Alabama, when they play at Auburn on December the 2nd. First time ever. Auburn will host Alabama. Now leading 31-17. Irish looking for more. Third and goal from the 3. Oilers in motion. Running the option, Tony Rice will not get there. Reggie Gibbons hit him first. Now it's 4th and goal, about 2 yards short of the end zone. The Rocket on one side and the Old Master on the other.
Well, again, down by 14 points. They cannot afford to give up even the field goal here. They have to find a way. Penn State has to find a way to block this.
This is only a 19-yard attempt for Billy Hackett. Tough angle from the right hash mark. He was able to handle it. Hackett good on the field goal. He's 2 for 3 today. And now Notre Dame goes up by 3 scores. One of the better signs you'll ever see.
He's had a great game. 75 yards for him today.
It's an interesting way to watch the game. Notre Dame has now doubled the score, 34-17, after the 19-yard field goal by Billy Hackett. 6:53 left in the game. The snow is really coming down hard now.
And because of the wind, they'll bring in Stan Smagala to hold the ball.
Will be over Samuel's head through the end zone, and they'll start from their 20. What's it like to be number 1 and the pressure of everyone being after you? Well, here's an answer.
I don't really see this team as looking at it as a lot of pressure. We like to play the game. We like to have fun. And, you know, we don't come out and say, wow, we're playing Penn State, you know, man, everybody gets all tight. We don't do that. We're out here to have a good time. Football's a lot of fun. I mean, you all know that. And that's how we approach the game, and I think that's why we're successful.
Well, the win streak at 22 and a little less than 7 minutes away from moving on to 23 in a row. Bo Walkowski. Here's the run by Blair Thomas. Raced down from behind by Bob Dahl. Well, the picture in college football beginning to clear up perhaps a little bit today. Let's get the update from Greg.
Jim, New Mexico with the ball. Watch quarterback Jeremy Leach with the shovel pass to Terrence Mathis. That's his 9th catch of the day, 263rd of his career. Mathis is now the NCAA's all-time career reception leader, and that deserves a hug from Mom, don't you think?
Yes, it does, Greg.
Pass through the hands of Daniels.
You know, I have been surprised, Jim, at the 34 points that Notre Dame has been able to put on the board today against, which is still, I believe, is a pretty good Penn State defense. But it just tells you a little bit about how good this Notre Dame team has been. Offensively, defensively, special teams. They can beat you 3 different ways.
3rd down and 2. Split backfield. 44, Leroy Thompson. Blair Thomas alongside. He can get to the 30. They need a lot more than that. Thomas past Pat Terrell. Bill's out in front of him. Oh, and he's dragged down from behind by Andre Jones, but a good run on the 3rd and short play. 31 yards in all. Blair Thomas goes over 100.
What you like about Blair Thomas is he will never quit on you, no matter what the score, no matter what the situation. Unbelievable knee injury. It kept him out all of last year, but he could have quit. He didn't. He worked awfully hard to get himself back into playing shape and has had a remarkable year this season.
This is now the 5th consecutive game he's eclipsed the 100-yard figure. 1st and 10 from the Irish 40.
And Jim mentioning Blair Thomas going over 100 yards. I was talking to Barry Alvarez, the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame this week. Said in my 2 years we haven't given up 100 yards to any single back. Well, Blair Thomas did it today.
now his career total. He moved past Lydell Mitchell against Maryland. And now he has DJ Dozier next on his list, and still has a shot at getting Kurt Warner for the all-time mark. Penn State. They play Pittsburgh next week. It's reported this Penn State team will be heading to San Diego to play in the Holiday Bowl.
You know, and Blair Thomas really does it as much, Jim, with attitude, I think, with anything else. He practices like a guy who's trying to make the team. They have to actually sit him down on Mondays and Tuesdays, keep him out of practice. So he acts like he's got to make the team. He's a remarkable player.
I thought the greatest thing that was said about him was Paterno saying he's the best we've ever had. That includes Lenny Moore. It includes a lot more guys than just Lenny Moore as well.
Franco Harris,
Lydell Mitchell, Dozier, Warner. We saw the list. Suey, Capoletti. And now they've got a repair problem on the chains. An injured chain. It's the second time we've seen that this year.
He's got a pulled chain.
5:48 left in the contest. And it's 34-17.
Yeah, they're staying warm.
All right, we're ready for play now.
The one thing about Joe Paterno teams is there's no quitting them.
McDuffie in motion. Blair Thomas bounces off of one defender. And DeJuan Francisco rides him down. A little face mask. And tack on a few more yards after the 11-yard carry.
Well, Blair Thomas seems to be one of those guys who gets stronger as the game wears on. Saw him in Alabama where he carried the ball 11 times in their final drive in the fourth quarter. He's bleeding on his wrist. He's got dirt all over him. He's got pads everywhere. But he wants the ball right now.
Face mask, 15-yard penalty against the defense. First down.
Well, now the report comes down from the sideline that the wind chill factor is at -6 degrees. Penn State looking for +6 on the scoreboard. Eating a couple of touchdowns, 3 touchdowns really.
Look at Chris Sorge's helmet. You don't think he's hit a few people?
A few dents in there.
Wow, that tells the story right there.
Tom Bill. Oh, over the head of the diminutive Terry Smith. He's only 5'7".
Boy, he got up that time, Terry Smith did. Terry Smith's the guy that you want to get the ball to on the move because he's very good after the catch. This would have been a touchdown, but it was the free safety, Terrell, number 15, who forced the high throw. A nice attempt there by Smith.
Terry Smith, they call him all kinds of names because of his size. Peanut, Itty Bitty. Was a wishbone quarterback in high school. Good receiver. He starts here ahead of McDuffie. Now he goes out in motion. On second down, there he is, Terry Smith. Short of the first. Tackled by Smagala. Well, might be a little bit warmer down there at the Orange Bowl next week.
80 degrees, I think, down there today. Illinois has had a good year. As has Virginia Cavaliers.
Texas Tech is a team you have to include on your list of surprises this year. Only lost twice. 3rd down and 2. Blair Thomas cuts back for the first down. Well, looked like they had the read on it. Bob Dahl was over there.
That is the nice cut. He set Dahl up beautifully. He runs to the outside. Dahl overruns it, and then he cuts back inside. Yeah, we talked about a lot of players today having a feel for the game, and Thomas is one of those guys.
I don't think they gave Penn State the greatest spot in the world right here. They move it right to the 5-yard line. And the measurement is obliging.
Here's the end of the play. Watch how he sets up Dahl, and he stops. He stops and starts very quickly, Blair Thomas. Well, and that's hard for a lot of guys to do. I mean, particularly on grass fields.
Second glance, it looked like a good mark. Now inside of 5 minutes. First and goal from the 5. Bill goes back the other way. Terry Smith.
Two or one here. At some point, they're going to need a 2-point play to win it if that's what if they ever get in a position.
Tom Bill has played well today. Throwing the touchdown pass of 5 yards to Terry Smith. Smith's second touchdown of the year. They're going to go for the 2.
And they move the ball toward the left hash, which you're allowed to do in college football before the 2-point play attempt.
Daniel to the right, Smith to the left. Now Smith in motion. They'll run it with Blair Thomas. Looking for the 2. He won't get it. Smagala on him first. Bob Dahl over there. An 11-point difference. 34-23. Notre Dame. Of today's CBS Sports College Football broadcast, we will select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school.
Now, Jim, Penn State and Taurasi will attempt the onside kick, and it's key to have the ball bounce twice before it crosses the 10-yard line. They have their hands team out, Notre Dame does, including Tony Rice, the quarterback.
Backup quarterback Pete Graham is on that line at the 45 as well. Here they come. Oh, flags are down. Football is free. Recovered by Notre Dame. Penn State huddles and they talk, and all of a sudden they say go, and they just take off running.
Talk about they look at the onside kick every kickoff, and if you don't defend it, they'll do it no matter what the story of the game is.
Well, Notre Dame crept up early, and they got called for it. So 5 yards forward and a re-kick.
And now you think they may change it. They may change their style.
Offsides against the kicking team. Re-kick with a 5-yard penalty.
Now, I saw Fresno State do this once. How would you like to have that coming right at you? Fresno State did this once, and a kicker recovered it on an onside kick.
You know, that football was free.
Yeah,
Since the penalty was against Notre Dame, had Penn State recovered, they would have had the football.
You know, it's not a bad philosophy because you have all 11 guys around the ball rather than 2 or 3.
Just waiting for the buzzword. They'll come firing out of there. Here they go. Oh, did they kick the football? It didn't make it.
I didn't get 10 yards.
Did not kick it far enough. So the Irish will take over from the 48-yard line of Penn State. Let's go back to Greg Gumbel in New York. Greg?
Jim, watch Virginia quarterback Sean Moore here on the final play of the first half. If you throw up enough prayers, sometimes you get one answered. 36 yards later, 6'5" Herman Moore plucks it out of the air. Virginia leads 28-14 at halftime.
You know, Greg, that is a pass that Herman Moore has caught a lot this year. They get him in the end zone, they just throw it up high, and he leaps up and catches. I saw him catch 3 or 4 of those this season already.
Great high jumper.
Yeah.
Finished second in the ACC in the high jump last year, Herman Moore. Ismail, Johnson, and Waters out of the wishbone. Set for Notre Dame. Waters, no gain. Tackle by Chismar, or Willie Thomas make that.
The beehive boot. That's always something I look forward to.
Score kind of stings today, doesn't it, when you put 70 on the board?
A lot of things being wanted. We have drums and bells and boots, cups, apple cups.
Apples.
Yeah. Half times. Yeah. Finals as well.
2nd and 10. for a first down at the 35-yard line. A gain of 13.
You know, at this point in the game, I'm a little bit surprised to see Tony Rice and some of the frontliners of Notre Dame in the game. 3:46 remaining. They have a very big game next week against Miami.
But don't you think with the 34-23, you can't say for sure this game was out of reach?
Well, 3:42 remaining in the fourth quarter, I would think I'd feel very comfortable with the lead.
Now that you got the first down, I'm sure they wanted to pick up a first down. They had 2nd and 10 on that play. Now a new set of downs. Dorsey Levens gets the carry. An oncoming freshman from Syracuse is Dorsey Levens. Picks up 11.
Here's a guy that was highly recruited out of Syracuse, and when he got to Notre Dame was injured. Been on the scout squad the last few weeks, but Jim Strong, the offensive coordinator, liked what he saw so much on the scout squad. The way he was playing down there, they brought him up a few weeks ago, and he's played real well.
The most yards rushing this year against Penn State, West Virginia, just a couple of yards over 200. Now Notre Dame today has rushed for 402 yards. 2nd and 1. Levens stopped for a loss by Giannetti. Well, that Miami-Notre Dame clash, really the rivalry of the 80s. And that will get started at 6:30 Eastern Time. 6:30 Eastern Time here on CBS.
Miami has won 2 national championships in the 80s. Notre Dame trying to repeat. The first team to repeat since Alabama. And it's going to be a fun matchup between Notre Dame's offensive line against the front 4 of Miami.
3rd and 2. And Rice gets to the outside. And inside of the 5-yard line.
Well, I think you have to get Rice out of the game. Boy.
Well, what a day he's having, Pat.
Yeah. Unbelievable day.
Tony Rice now 26 carries for 143 yards.
And now Notre Dame is bringing in Rick Meyer, number 3, the backup quarterback. The whole second team offensive line is in. But whatever they've asked Tony Rice to do at Notre Dame, he's been able to do it.
Well, this total rushing today for Rice is a new career high. His best previous mark, 107 yards, 1988 against Stanford. He's eclipsed that big time today. Started the day as the nation's #1 scoring defense. Allowed only 9 points a contest, and the most in any one game. Alabama here, a victory 17-16 3 weeks ago. The 17 points easily topped by Notre Dame today. 34 and counting. I say counting because it's 1st and goal, Irish from the 4-yard line.
That man's had a remarkable day. Ned Bolcar was telling me, the linebacker from Notre Dame, a few weeks ago, that he has the kind of personality that makes everybody around Tony Rice play better.
And with Rice on the sidelines, freshman Rick Meyer takes over at quarterback. Pat Eilers gets the carry, and Eilers fumbles into the end zone, recovered by Sherrod Range. .149 left in the game. 11-point difference.
And Penn State has 2 timeouts remaining. But carrying the ball on the outside arm, which he should be, but it was Goganis, number 42, who really stripped him of the ball. And then Sherrod Range made the recovery.
So Goganis knocks it loose. Range falls on it, and the football is at the 20 in Penn State's possession.
And Penn State needs some big plays, obviously, and the guy that their big play receiver has been O.J. McDuffie this year. But they've got Smith and Daniels in.
Now here's the run with Leroy Thompson.
Well, I don't understand that at all.
If you're going to run it, you would think it would go to your big man, Blair Thomas.
With only 2 timeouts remaining, down by 8, you have to throw the ball. You have to challenge your receivers, challenge the defensive backs.
Only a gain of 3. Bill almost slips. Comes back the other way. And is 2 yards shy of the first. Clock will continue to run. Nick Smith on the tackle for Notre Dame.
As courageous a run as that is, they have to find a way to protect him and get the ball downfield.
Now a timeout signal called by the Nittany Lions. They have 1 remaining. Tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern Time, join the NFL Today.
Which is his style. He's come up with some big plays when they've had to, but it's really been the defense at Penn State that's been the surprise. Giving up 34 points.
425 yards rushing. A new record against the Nittany Lions.
That's as much good offense, though, as it is poor defense, I'm convinced. You get great coordination in that offensive line, and some hungry backs from Notre Dame running it behind them.
3rd and 2. 1:11 left. Bill runs for the first down. Now needs to get out of bounds. He does near the 40.
He sheds a lot of tacklers, doesn't he?
And he always looks like he's ready to fall. He's just barely staying on his feet.
He can shuffle those hoofs around there pretty well.
He's picked up 63 yards on the ground, Tom Bill.
Yeah, but now's the time to get the ball downfield. Again, good coverage by the secondary of Notre Dame has really prevented him from getting the ball downfield. There's nobody running wide open, believe me. Ridgely, number 99, Flannery, 92. Backups that have played well today.
Screen pass to Blair Thomas. He loses his footing. Slippery field. We saw it against Alabama, too, on a day when it was dry. But today, with this off and on snow flurries in the sky, we've seen several times today, people lose the footing. 2nd down play, final minute. Bill gets it away. Oh, in the hands of McDuffie.
Ball he has to catch. Tough catch, a little bit behind him in traffic. That's what you want to do, Jim, in this situation, is to hope he can catch a guy in a crossing route cutting against the grain, and then maybe he can go. But remember, even if they were to score the touchdown in the 2-point play, they still have to kick a field goal against the wind. They've got certainly an uphill struggle. It's more than a struggle, I guess.
Just 30 seconds left. An 11-point Notre Dame lead. Bill gets away. Must look for the sidelines now. Into the Irish territory at the 48-yard line. Gain of 13 for Bill. And now you've seen the totals today put up by the Irish, rushing totals, that is. What do you look for next week when they go against that vaunted defensive 7 from the Hurricanes of Miami?
Well, I think the entire key is if that front 4 from Miami disrupts the rhythm of the option attack. And if they can stop Anthony Johnson, Notre Dame's going to have their hands full. And they haven't really had to defend a passing team that throws the ball as well as Miami has all year.
Lobbing it over to Thomas. Ooh. Blair needs to get out of bounds. At the 38-yard line. It's his final home game at Penn State. And a timeout signaled. Blair Thomas, the year they won the national championship. He played a great deal, but was a backup to DJ Dozier that season. 86. Rushed for 1,400 yards and 87. Set out last year with that huge knee injury. Today's game has been produced by Michael Burks and directed by Joe Assetti. College Football Report produced by Ed Gorin and directed by Duke Struck. David Winter is the senior producer. Ted Shaker is the executive producer of CBS Sports.
started this, really started this very heated rivalry over the last few years.
Next week, 6:30. Boy, special starting time for that one. All right, 9 seconds to go. The ball is at the 37-yard line, we'll call it, of the Irish. Across the middle, intended for Terry Smith. You know, Tony Rice will improve his record as a starting quarterback now to 27-2. His only 2 losses as a starter were against Penn State and Miami, the same sequence that he's going through right now. At Penn State, at Miami in '87, the only 2 starts he has lost. He's 27-2 now.
The whole team is remarkable. They've won 11 games on the road now in this winning streak. They've beaten 7 top 10 teams in the win streak.
To finish it out, incomplete. And the win streak is now at 23 in a row for Notre Dame. Let's get a report now. John Dockery, take it away.
Lou, are you satisfied with the way your team's playing at this moment?
No, not at all. We can't win unless we're going to be great on defense. I thought our kids come out today and competed and did some good things. They played hard, played together, but we just can't. I don't know. We won, I guess.
Yeah, especially the offensive line certainly played well today.
Our offensive line played very well. I thought Rice played very well. I thought Waters and Ishmael, Johnson, Culver. I thought our kids played hard. But if we're going to be able to go on and continue to play, we're just going to have to pick it up a notch on defense. Penn State had a nice game plan. They're a good football team. I certainly congratulate them. They're a class operation, and we're fortunate to come in here and go out with a win.
Next week, a tough one against Miami.
I can't even think about it because there's no way in this world we're going to be able to score many points on Miami just based on what's happened. I can't even enjoy some already. Got me thinking about Miami. The one thing I can say about Miami, it's going to be a little bit warmer. But, we feel very gratified to win. Can we win any more? I don't know. And everybody says, Notre Dame has all great talent. We do. But in the last 2 years, we've had one player make the coach's All-American team.
I understand. Okay, Coach. Good luck next week. Congratulations today. Okay. Okay. Jimmy?
Well, they got a great coach as well. Notre Dame wins at Penn State for the first time in the 80s. We'll continue in just a moment. 34-23, and the Chevrolet most valuable players of the game. Well, we're going to give it to the whole Notre Dame offensive line. Plowed the way to 425 yards rushing for the Irish today. And Blair Thomas in his final home game in a Penn State uniform. 133 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. A check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated by Chevrolet to each school's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. Well, the all-time Notre Dame win streak continues. It's now at 23 in a row, with today's final score 34-23 over Penn State. And this Friday, more exciting college football action, the Southwest Conference battle. This is a big one, Arkansas and Texas A&M. And tomorrow, a full slate of NFL games, all starting at 12:30 Eastern with the NFL Today. Check local listings for the game in your area. Tony Rice today, 143 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. It's the biggest day of his career rushing-wise, and now the Irish are moving on, heading to Miami next week. So long, everybody.